Okay, I think we're live. I think we're streaming. Let me tweet out the link real quick. And welcome to the Play Reaction Bucs Reaction live stream. We do this every Wednesday. Now, I know I have a lot of new subscribers and a lot of new followers on Twitter who have not joined these live streams before. And first of all, I want to say thank you. That last video that I put out, it's basically recapping the 2017 season for the Bucs, and I kind of dubbed it the season season of Murphy's Law. The response to that video. The response to that video was outstanding. I've had videos that had like over 1,000 views or whatever, more views, more watch time even, but the response for this video was such a surprise, and also one that really, I don't know, that one affected me a little bit more than the others did. How's it going, Adrian? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. I'm just saying, the Murphy's Law video got such a great response from Bucs fans and fans that I super respect. So Derek Fournier of What the Buck DM'd me, had some really nice words to say about the video, retweeted the video, and I was blown away because I listened to What the Buck. He's the OG podcaster for the Bucs. Check him out if you don't already. He had nice things to say about the video, and just a bunch of other people. A lot of response, a lot of new subscribers, new followers, so thank you. All that's to say is thank you for watching, and there's more to come. Now, as for the live streams here, obviously it's a little bit lower quality, but it's basically my way of saying, hey, I want to put out a weekly video, and I don't have the time to put out the quality of video of the Murphy's Law one every single week, so I still wanted to stay kind of in tune with everything, and I still want to talk Bucs. I mean, once a month is not enough for me, so I want to talk with you guys. These live streams are directed by you. What's up, Jay's Adventures? Welcome back. Can't trust Murphy. That's, yeah, absolutely, guys. And I feel like, by the way, this has been like the decade of Murphy's Law, but there just was not enough time to get into how long just things have gone wrong for this team. But these weekly live streams are for you guys. I want them to be conducted by you. So anything you want to talk about Bucs related, or even shoot, if it's slow, non-Bucs related, you can shoot it back over to me. And if there's nobody in the chats, then I'll just start rambling on about whatever's on my mind that's Bucs related. So, you know, I kind of open up the floor to you guys, Adrian, Jay, if you guys want to pop in and say anything about OTAs or anything you've read about the team. I know there's been some great content out there by Pewter Report, and I mean, this is also the kind of the time of year when things are super slow. So players either get in trouble, players hold out, or national outlets want to find their narrative. So, like, you know, oh, is Gronk gonna practice in OTAs, and why is Tom Brady not there, and you know, any other type of story people can conjure up. This is the time of year for that. But kind of back to my video, one thing I wanted to say is that, you know, people have pointed out that you can't blame an entire season on bad luck, which I agree with you, and I hope I was a little bit more clear in that video that you cannot blame the whole 2017 season on bad luck. And the point of this video was not to show really how much bad luck the Bucs were, although that was part of it. I mean, I want to give context to everybody, because I think as the offseason happens and the months go on, we start to forget just what this team was about, and all we retain is the negatives, like how bad this player did, that player did, this coach did, that coach did, and we forget about context. So that's the first reason. The second reason is to kind of call out the fact that, hey, we are a black and white culture, and we always want to place blame on one thing, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I want to point out that everybody shares their blame, and that's from the top down, from the Glazers all the way down to, shoot, even the janitors. Somebody owned a piece of the blame there. So Jay's Adventures, Winston is getting so much hate, and I agree with you. Again, this is the time period when people like to hate and start narratives. So this is the perfect time for those who hate Winston to bring something up and kind of throw that out there, whether it's the Uber situation or whatever, people start picking apart the film from last year and talking about how his accuracy is down or whatever it may be. It's because we have nothing better to do. But get ready, because you know what? You know who got hate? Peyton Manning, believe it or not, got hate. Tom Brady gets hate. The good players get hate. I have no problem with Winston getting hate as long as we start winning. So I honestly would love people to start hating Winston, because you know what? I hate Cam Newton. A big reason I hate Cam Newton is because he wins. So you know what? People can hate Winston all they want. I know he's a better character person than Cam Newton ever will be, and if he starts winning, man, he's got a fan for life in me. So Danny D, that last video was so good. Keep it up. Thanks, Danny. When a team does bad, does it fall on the players or the coaches? Yeah, Danny, you came in kind of in the middle of that. The purpose of the video, as I mentioned earlier, is not to place blame on a single person. I think a lot of it can be chalked up to bad luck, which, that's football. The ball is an oblong shape, so it bounces weird directions and things happen and you have to overcome them. It's the coach's fault and the player's fault that they did not overcome the bad luck that happened. They did not take advantage of the situations. Like, for instance, when in the Carolina game when Chris Baker jumped off sides, it just takes one player to be an idiot, and that can cost you the game. Now, it was 4th and 3 in that situation, and who knows, Carolina may have scored a touchdown on that play. We don't know. But one thing I will say about the players and the coaches is that they hung in there in that game, and they hung in every game, especially those last 6. And I think that says a lot about the players and their ability to win, their will to win, and also how they feel about the coaches. So I don't want to place blame on one person. I say the blame goes to everyone. So kind of back to players getting hate. Actually more about Winston. One thing I am nervous about, especially as the silence goes on, is the Uber allegations for Jameis. And it's not so much that I'm worried that he is guilty, because I'm really not. Just if you base it strictly on his character from the time he entered the league to now, he has given us no reason to think he is that kind of person. Now, I know he did have the history in college, but even those were just unproven allegations. So taking all of that into context, I personally, and maybe this is wishful thinking, hopeful thinking, I feel like he is innocent based on his character. Obviously, something could come out, and he could come out to completely prove me wrong, and I obviously will be the first to retract that. But I am concerned about how long it's taking, because I feel like the NFL just kind of hands out suspensions like they're nothing if there's an allegation out there. I feel like the quicker this process goes, the better. We know what it's about. We know what happened, at least what they discover, and then we can go from there. Is it a 2-game suspension? Is it a 4-game suspension? Is it no games, and is he exonerated? I want that to go a lot quicker than it is. And I remember Joe Bucs fan, I think, teased something out like they had some news like a month ago, and it never came to fruition. That's indicative of who they are. Anyway, Uber incident. Jay says, Uber incident, the story sounds so BS, sounds so made up in my opinion. Yeah, and I hope this isn't beating a dead horse for you guys, but I mean, hey, it is the offseason with these allegations. The thing for me is that just the sheer fact that her allegations said it was just him and her, and already there is somebody that has spoken up and said they were there in the vehicle. So if you can prove the driver wrong on just that lone fact that she said it was just the 2 of them, that already really hurts her case. So that's kind of another reason why I lean towards the innocent side, in my opinion, there with Jameis. Kind of moving on to OTAs. Is there any players you guys you've been reading about that you're excited about? I heard from Peter Report that they noticed that Deshaun Jackson was getting some slot time, which I really hope that isn't just to play around. Like, I hope they're serious about that. I know we all love Chris Godwin, and what I would love to see, honestly, is hey, let's go ahead and stick Chris Godwin outside 50% of the time or more, and use Djax since he's a little older and kind of a Larry Fitzgerald slot role, where he can kind of redefine the position. And it was pointed out on their podcast that Deshaun Jackson's longest play was from the slot. It was against the Patriots, and he ran the ball. He caught the ball and ran for like 40 yards just because he just burned the guy. And I think we could really exploit that with the amount of speed we have from Djax and the amount of talent we would have on the outside. And remember, we'll still have guys like O.J. Howard and Cam Brate on the line, and guys like Rojo in the backfield. Like, I'm finding myself getting excited about this offense, which is dangerous because I was super on the hype train this time last year for the offense, but we'll see. Jay said, I heard Carlton Davis was doing really good. Man, everything I hear about Carlton Davis, it's really it's reminiscent of Chris Godwin last year. All the things I heard from OTAs and on about Chris Godwin was just getting me more and more excited about him and what he can do. And it seems the same thing for Carlton Davis, which is funny considering how he was the second corner taken. I'm not hearing a lot about MJ Stewart. What I am hearing is good, and what I am reading is good about him, but Carlton seems to be standing out, which is really interesting. And something we've kind of discussed in the past is Vernon Hargraves. Is he going to be slot corner, or is he going to be out on the outside? I think that will be up to him. I think it'll be up to him. And then Carlton Davis is going to make a huge push. He could be like Quan, just stepping in and owning the role from the beginning. And no matter how good Vernon does, he may just not be able to match him. We'll see. But regardless of what happens this year, it's great. It's a great sign for next year because Brent Grimes, he's here this year and then he's done. I thought he was gone after last season and he wasn't. So I could be proven wrong there. But, Brent's only getting older, and I love the fact that we have Carlton Davis to just step in. Now, does he have the same kind of tools that Brent Grimes has? No, but, we don't necessarily need another Brent Grimes. We just need a corner who's competent and a pass rush who can get to the quarterback. And when those things work in harmony, it's good things all around. MJ has a couple of interceptions in OTAs. I have read that, and especially in that. Apparently, there was an OTA day where there was just interceptions galore, which you can never really read too much into OTAs. So, trying to bring us back down to earth, there's no tackling. It's, underwear football, so to speak, and it's very light. And it's teams implementing their offenses and their defensive schemes, and it's very vanilla. So, interceptions are great, I think, from corners if they show that they have great hands and great athleticism, but a lot of times it's just the quarterback trying things out, and we all know Jameis and Ryan Fitzpatrick are the types who just try things out, and they aren't afraid of interceptions. How are you feeling about our O-line? That's a great question. I have been more optimistic about this O-line probably since 2 years ago. I have been more. I have had let's say this. I have had a viewpoint on this offensive line that has been higher than the norm than most people over the last 2 years. For whatever reason. I don't really know why. It's not to try to be opposite of people. But going into 2 years ago, when our offensive line was in shambles and we got Allie and Donovan and stuff, I was like, guys, this is going to be so much better of an offensive line. And they were. And then last year, yes, they regressed, but I don't think they were as bad as people thought they were. So I think they were more middling offensive line, possibly late teens, if in my opinion, and this is just my non-educated football opinion, and also based on opinions that I read. So that said, I'm very excited about this offensive line. I'm excited about Donovan and Allie being side by side. I'm excited about Ryan Jensen. Man, I was so excited about Jensen being signed. And so even with Sweezy there at right guard, if it's Sweezy at right guard, if he's healthy, I am excited about this offensive line. I think they have top 10 potential even with Sweezy in there. With him out there, I still think the potential is there for top 10 but they'll probably be top 15 if I had to guess. So, which is fine. That's what you want from an offensive line. You don't need them to be world beaters. You don't need them to be the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, look at the Cowboys. Yeah, they made the playoffs with them, but it's about the tools you have around them. And as long as we have running gaps, as long as we have holes for Rojo and for Peyton Barber, and that opens up the passing offense, that's what we need. They can be a top half offensive line, and we're fine because our weapons are that good. So I'm excited about Ali going back to his original position. Yeah, I mean, it's not his original position, is it? Or was that him? Did he play left guard in college? No, he was a tackle in college, wasn't he? Anyway, he was right guard when he entered the NFL, and now he's playing left guard. So, yeah, he is going back to guard, but it is a different side. I don't know how different that is. If anybody has played offensive line, let me know how different it is from right guard to left guard. I wouldn't imagine it's as different as going from guard to center. So either way, I'm big on Ali. I am expecting a Pro Bowl year from him. Without knowing the other left guards in the league or in the conference, I think Ali's ceiling is perennial Pro Bowler, and I want this to be the first year. He's got to get in there. Steven Quintana, how many sacks this year? Man, so early. Way too early to predict sack numbers. But what I will say is more than 22. More than 22. Guys, if we get 22 or less sacks this year, the Murphy's Law video that I'm going to do next year is going to be off the charts compared to this one, because there is just no way. I feel like there would have to be, and I think I said this last week, there would have to be a level of unfortunate circumstances just among unbelievable proportions that would have to happen for us to get the same amount or less sacks this year with this defensive line. I just don't think it's going to happen. What my hope is that we reach the year before sack total, which I believe is around 35 or 37, somewhere in that range. If we're there, I feel like that is the bottom line we need to get to. If we're there, we have a winning season. I really believe that. I mean, I think that this defense is so much predicated on getting to the quarterback, and that's why they were hurt so much last year. Yes, even with Mike Smith and his scheming and his 14 different coverages on Julio and Vernon Hargraves playing 15 yards back off a receiver, all that stuff is fine if we get to the quarterback, because that's not different than what happened the year before. The difference was we got to the quarterback, and suddenly you had guys like Keith Tandy making huge interceptions. So my expectation, the floor is, I'm going to say 35 sacks. I think we can get it. I hope we get 40 plus, Steven. Yes, I hope we get 40 plus too. I'm trying to keep the floor low because I'm so burnt from last year having the high expectations and then getting just completely dumbfounded by the performance. But what's great is the ceiling for this squad. So the ceiling for last year's team was probably about that, like 35. That was the ceiling for the line last year. Like, we could not expect 40 plus sacks from that line, even with the addition of Chris Baker, thinking that he was going to replicate his year before that. But the ceiling for this defensive line is, I mean, they could be a top 5 defensive line. I think that's their ceiling. Am I going to expect that? Heck no, because context, I'm smarter than that now. I'm not going to expect anything from this team. We haven't had a double-digit sacker since Simeon Rice 13 years ago. So I hope we get a double-digit sacker. I hope it's Gerald McCoy, even from the D-tackle position. I hope it's JPP. Whoever gets it, I hope we get a double-digit sacker. If we do that, then we're well on our way to 40 sacks. How are we feeling about Vita Vea? I am liking what I'm hearing so far, and that's a good transition from the defensive line to talk about Vita. And I think I said this last week, but the fact that we have stacked our defensive line so well, and that Jason Light just did such an incredible job of adding players and adding depth. Vita Vea is in the perfect position as a rookie. When you are drafted in the first round as a defensive lineman, you have all this pressure to get sacks. Even if you're a D tackle who don't usually get sacks a whole lot anyway, by the fans, there's this huge expectation that you're going to get all these sacks. But that expectation is not going to be on Vita this year because he has guys like Bo Allen, Mitch Unrein, Gerald McCoy in front of him that he's going to rotate with, that he has the freedom to learn. He has the freedom to get 1.5 sacks this year and just be a solid run stuffer and learn behind some really great players, and he'll be fine. Will there be some fans who think he was a wasted pick? Absolutely. I guarantee it. Even if he gets like 8 sacks, I think people are going to say he was a wasted pick. But I am excited about Vita. I think he has a lot of untapped potential. I like what I'm hearing from him. I like the things I've read about him. And there's actually, I'm actually going to try to find it. There was somebody on Reddit who did a very extensive, is kind of putting together a very extensive spreadsheet on Vita Vea and his highlights from college. So I'm going to try to go to that real quick. Sorry if there's dead air, but I think I want to find that and share that in the chat with you guys because I'm starting to try to dig into it just to kind of get a read on Vita. And it's we don't have the all 22, so it's a good place to go. Sorry, stand by, still trying to get it. It's from user Rainbow Unicorns, and man, he did such a fantastic job in putting together all the Vita footage. All right, almost there. Here we go. I'm going to share it with you guys in the chat real quick. So check this out just on your own time. There's a lot of really good stuff on there, and he's compiling the spreadsheet. And he categorizes it between one-handed takedowns and different moves like jab step fakes I'm seeing on here, and he's just got an example for all of them, and he's giving his own his own analysis on it, and you can kind of judge for yourselves on it. I think it's really cool. So from the little bit I've watched so far on those things, I'm really excited about Vita and what he can do. Now, what he does against NFL offensive linemen, that remains to be seen. So we've got to hold back our expectations, but. I think the big thing with Vita is potential, and he's got room to grow. So NFL rated us as the 8th best defensive line in the league. That's based on potential, right, Steven? Is that like, as we stand right now with JPP and Bo Allen and Mitch Unrein and Vinny Curry and all them, I wouldn't blame them. And as they do their kind of offensive off-season rankings of teams and stuff, it's nice to get a little shout out and national outlets finally recognizing what we're doing. But honestly, I hope nobody notices us nationally. I'm tired of us being the paper champions. I'm tired of us being the off-season champions. I want us to actually win, and it's been a long time. I witnessed the last game of John Gruden's coaching career. And had I known at that game, as Jamarcus Russell just bombed it against Monty Kiffin's defense that was so pissed that he was leaving, had I known that that was going to start over 10 years of misery, well, not over 10 years yet, but just about 10 years, I would have stopped being a Bucs fan. I mean, benefit of ignorance and not knowing the future, man, it's been miserable. I mean, there's been some blips along the way, and it's been fun, but oh boy, I'm tired of hype. I've been so beaten down by people predicting us to win the division. And the other thing too is we're in such a tough division. It's hard for us to even get hyped now because we still have the Falcons, we still have the Saints, we still have the Panthers. Who knows what they're all going to do? They all looked great. We sucked last year, so I think Vea will do good as long as he takes in what McCoy teaches him. Yeah, I think, and a lot of people bash McCoy, and I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on McCoy. For whatever reason, he has a hate group. I've never understood the haters, the McCoy haters. What I will say is I understand the criticisms against him a little bit. I think a lot of times he's more bark than bite. Every offseason, he seems to have like, oh, it's a new me. You're gonna see a whole different McCoy. I'm gonna take leadership or whatever it is. And you don't really ever see a change in his game or his numbers. So I get those criticisms, but the people who hate on McCoy don't realize his leadership style in the locker room is still just as effective as the guy who's barking. I mean, it's just, you got to let him do what he can do. And I know he was expected to take that role as the veteran on this defense and the guy who's the Pro Bowler. Understandable, but I think we're going to see a lot from Vita Vea, from McCoy. I think we're going to see a lot from how Vita grows. We're going to see as a result of McCoy. I think most of it we're going to see as a result from Brinson Buckner. But I think where McCoy leads best is being that guy behind the scenes in the locker room, encouraging young guys and stepping in and being willing to help them, taking them under his wing and doing it in a way that is helpful for them. Let the coaches be barking. Let the coaches like Brinson Buckner. This is why it's so great we have Brinson Buckner. Let those guys be the one yelling and screaming, and then play the good cop. I think that's what McCoy is great at, and it's so great that he now has guys like JPP and other veterans around him to kind of take off all of that from the shoulders of him. Like, they have more veteran leadership in the locker room, which is great for him. The good thing is everyone on our D-line won't get double-teamed. McCoy was double-teamed 2 years ago and last year. I feel like McCoy's been double-teamed his whole career. I mean, he's just had nobody around him. And honestly, guys, there's no excuse for McCoy this year. There's no excuse. If he has a mediocre season this year with all his talent around them and they're succeeding, maybe then the criticisms are warranted. I feel like this is the year for McCoy to just have a humongous year, to have his best year, because he finally has the pass rush around him. So we'll see how it goes. McCoy, I think he's a decent player, but not a good leader, but wonderful guy. I met him last year at training camp. He's so nice. I can never hate him. Yeah, regardless of what you think of his leadership styles, he's been a great ambassador for this team. And it just sucks that he has to be compared to Warren Sapp, who was an a-hole and is an a-hole, and beats up prostitutes and gets in trouble and, put up great Hall of Fame numbers. And so people just think you need to be Warren Sapp, but he's not that. He never will be, and I'm glad he never will be. McCoy's character is something to look up to, and his contribution to the Tampa community is something worth praising, and he doesn't get praised for it. So, okay, we're going up right around the 30-minute mark. Unless you guys have any final thoughts, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for joining in, and those who are joining for the first time that have come in, thanks to subscribing for the last video. Thanks if you're watching this after the live stream. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging in with it. There are more videos like the Murphy's Law one coming soon. There are more high quality, more produced, green screen, all that stuff coming soon. I'm going to try to do those once a month. So look towards the end of June for the next one. It's going to be another general topic one, and I hope you guys like it. I have a feeling you will, because it is a hot topic amongst the Buccaneers community, and I think there will be a lot to debate about. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be filming it, I think, next Friday. So, and yes, it will take me basically 2 or 3 weeks to edit it, because it's all me. It's all on my own, and I have a full-time job, and I have a wife who obviously I want to devote my time to. So, thank you guys for your support. There's more coming. Join me next Wednesday again for this live stream. I'm going to try to do it at 9 o'clock again. Might be a different setting. Oh, and also, I'm going to try to up the quality soon. And I say this every week, and you guys are just going to be like, this isn't happening. The quality has not been increased. I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. So if quality is a thing for you, and you're just like, oh, this guy and his stupid little webcam and his terrible audio and whatever, get over it. It's being fixed soon. So anyway, sorry. Thanks, guys, for joining. And thanks, Jay. Thanks, Steven. And thanks, Adrian, for jumping in the chat. Danny, love you guys. Appreciate you joining in. Join me next week, next Wednesday. And let me know if this 9 o'clock time is good for you guys, too. And those watching the replay, let me know if it's good for you. I might change it. But be sure to follow me on Twitter at @ThePlayReaction. That's when I tell you, that's the place to find out when the live streams are if I change it. So until then, I'll see you next week at the 9 p.m. And gonna miss you too, Jays. And I'll see you guys next week. And I can't wait to talk more Bucs football with you guys. Again, this is your live stream. You guys direct the topics, and we'll just chat. It's like a fireside chat. So looking forward to it. Until then, Go Bucs.